Alright, so we're back, of course, talking about some Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this time specifically we're here to talk about Jessie and whether or not she actually died during the fall of Sector 7. And what we have here also is an interview with Erica Lindbeck, who's the voice actress for Jessie, doing an interview with Inverse and kind of giving her thoughts on it as well. Now, the reason why this discussion's even on the table at all is that we have characters from the original game who died during this segment that did not die with the remake. So, for instance, Biggs, we learn later at the end of the game when we're getting like that big final cutscene that he actually survives. Wedge also didn't die during the destruction of Sector 7, but we see him later on in the Shinra building and he gets dragged away by the Watchmen of Fate or the Whisperers, and we don't know his current fate, but odds are likely he's probably still alive as well. And then we have the actual scene with Jessie, which I'll just hop right into my thoughts on this outright. I think she is dead. I think she's permanently dead. And the reason why I say that is because we get the follow-up on Biggs being alive. They leave Wedge ambiguous probably for the sequel, and we never get any other scenes with Jessie after her death, right? I think that's confirmed that she's dead. I remember seeing people upset about this game before I ever got to the end of the story, saying that like Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge were like all alive, or Jessie survived, or just Biggs survived, or this, that, or the other. I don't know why anybody would think Jessie would still be alive, but I guess there's those people out there that think that. Also think that she is dead because they have to have one of them die. They let Biggs survive, they let Wedge survive, but again, his situation's a little bit ambiguous. We don't know where he's at, or where the Watchmen of Fate took him, or whatever the case. Jessie has to die. Like, somebody has to die, otherwise that just takes away from that moment completely. Like, if we start at part 2, we find Jessie somewhere in the world, she's still alive, everything's good, we go back to Midgard and find her or something, like, it's that scene is completely destroyed because she survived. Like, somebody needs to die. As much as Jessie is the better character of those three, I think, she has to die. And also her being, like, arguably the best character in the remake, like, that makes that scene even more impactful, right? Like, her actually dying and staying dead. Now on to the interview with Erica Lindbeck, the voice actress for Jessie Raspberry. Now the entire interview isn't just about whether or not Jessie is alive or part 2 or whatever the case, so we're not here to read over the entire thing because it's actually quite lengthy. So near the bottom of the interview we actually get a quote from her talking about how Jessie died in the original and did die in this game as well. So that's coming from the voice actress herself. At least as far as she knows, obviously she's just a voice actress, she doesn't know what's going to happen in part 2. But as of right now, Jessie is dead. And at the very bottom of the interview, Inverse actually asks her directly about this and say, a popular theory is that Jessie survived at the end of the game. Would you ever return to voice this character again in part 2 or another project? And she replies with, oh my gosh, of course. My friends keep texting me asking me what's going to happen, but Square Enix doesn't tell us anything, which is good for security purposes. I'm also the last to know things, so I have no idea. But of course, I would reprise this role in a heartbeat. I've been on this project for 5 years total, and if this is it, then that's also fine by me. They really did Jessie's death justice and did an incredible job with her character. I was able to do so much more than I would have imagined on this project. I've come to the terms with the fact, or not the fact, rather the idea, that if this is all it is, then that's okay. Jessie's death was really impactful. Either way, I feel so lucky to have been a part of something like this. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Her death was impactful. Like, she has to die. Otherwise, there's no consequences in this world because everybody lives all the time. That all being said, however, Jessie could be in part 2 still, like Erica Lindbeck could reprise the role, even if it's just like a dream or a vision that somebody is seeing, she could still be in the game. There could also be like flashbacks to back, sometime before obviously Jessie died, because when it came to the original game, like, they reference it a little bit, but after y'all leave Midgard and after Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge die, like, they don't talk about it super often throughout the story, right? And I feel like that's going to be different with the remake project, especially if Jessie's the only one that died. I feel like they're going to talk about it. Like, maybe some flashbacks when they first met Jessie or she first joined up with Avalanche, something along those lines. But anyways, dude, that's pretty much the video, so I want to pass off to you guys. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Jessie is still alive? Do you think she survived? I don't know why some people think that. I personally think it's pretty obvious that she is dead. Also, kind of a side question, what do you think happened to Wedge? Either way, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to update more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter at @dashingdavid. I'm on Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Jessie.
Give me a smile, give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit